Hey, everybody, how's it going? Day 3 of training camp is in the books. However, it was closed to the media, it was closed to the general public, so as for what happened on day 3 of Seahawks training camp, I couldn't really tell you. Not too many people are going to know, people aren't really talking about it. There isn't a whole lot I can say about it other than that it happened, and I'm sure there was some cool stuff that went down, maybe some discouraging stuff, but we don't know exactly what it is. So today's video is going to be on something that did get announced yesterday that we can actually really discuss. So yesterday, I know I'm a little late with this. I thought about doing a breaking news video on this, but I kind of wanted to ball all this up into one point of discussion. So basically, yesterday we learned that Carson Wentz probably needs surgery. Now, this headline that you see on your screen right now is being a little cautious with its wording just in case, but after doing some research into this, it seems like the Colts fully expect that Carson Wentz is going to need to go under the knife, which means he will not be able to play in week 1 against the Seahawks. I believe he's already been declared out for the whole preseason, which is a problem unto itself because it's his first year on a new team. But it seems to me that it's very likely he's going to miss at least the first few games in 2021. And this is hugely relevant to the Seahawks because we play the Colts in week 1. So let's go ahead and talk about it. I am always a big fan of downplaying injuries that other teams have. I tend to believe that a lot of these players that are good, that you can instinctively kind of believe they're irreplaceable, and if they get hurt, it's going to be devastating to that team. They often end up not being that irreplaceable, and sometimes the guy they plug in just chugs right forward, and you barely notice that the injured guy is not in there. But when it comes to quarterbacks, that's a little different. So if Carson Wentz cannot play week 1 against the Seahawks, and it seems to me that he won't be able to, and we get either Jacob Eason, Gardner Minshew, or veteran to be determined, maybe Phillip Rivers comes back for a game, then that is a huge boon to the Seahawks' chances of winning that game. It turns that game into a layup. Now, it's not a gimme. I'm not going to say it's a gimme, but it's a layup. People miss layups sometimes, but you would expect to win that one. But to kind of tie this into a bigger evolving storyline from this offseason, it seems like the Seahawks, it's early, and there's plenty of time for this to go the other way. Seems like the Seahawks are catching some breaks already. This Carson Wentz one is probably the biggest one. It takes this Indy game from a game that feels a little coin flippy to a game that you fully expect to win going in pretty easily, especially if you're playing Jacob Eason. But there was the Akers injury about a week and a half ago. I didn't talk about this one very much, mostly because I honestly think that running backs is in a good offense with a good offensive coordinator are not irreplaceable under any circumstances. Maybe somebody like a Derrick Henry's really difficult to replace, but even if Cam Akers was their best running back, I believe that Rams offense with Sean McVay can find a way to be productive regardless. But Cam Akers was supposed to be their featured back. He was their best running back. Losing him does suck. So that's 2 games on the Seahawks schedule this year against the Rams that got some amount easier. I'm not convinced it's a huge amount, but it is an amount. And it's a team that you're competing against in the division. And also, a couple days ago, we heard this about one J.J. Watt opening camp on the PUP list. Now, I'm not going to freak out about this one. I'm not going to assume anything massive from an announcement as benign as this. The nature of the PUP list means you can come off at pretty much any time during the offseason. The PUP list only really starts to matter once the season starts. If you're on the list then you really have a problem. But it has to be said that J.J. Watt, who is an older player, who has a lot of miles on his body, and has already suffered, I think, 3 season-ending injuries in his career, is physically unable to perform right now. And this is a guy Arizona spent a lot of money on. They had a massive void year in year 3 of his contract to bring him in. So they bent over backwards to bring him in because they believe that this is the year that they need to produce good results, or else they're going to have to blow things up a little bit. So J.J. Watt starting on the PUP, it's not a good way for J.J. Watt to start his Arizona career. And you also actually had, this is more of a footnote thing, the 49ers had 3 major injuries to minor players in their OTAs last month. This is old news. Justin School, Tavares Moore, and Jeff Wilson. These were backups, but still. So what I'm trying to get at here is that it seems like this Seahawks team may be catching some breaks with opponents and rivals. Again, it's early. It can easily go the other way. The Packers did get Aaron Rodgers back, right? We were all, you have to admit, you were sitting there hoping, man, I really hope Aaron Rodgers isn't a Packer next year. That would be great. We go to Lambeau this year. It'd be super cool if we didn't have to worry about losing that game because we were playing, Jordan Love, and maybe Devontae Adams wouldn't be there, and maybe they just wouldn't be that good, and you can go into Lambeau and beat them, and you don't have to worry about them in the seeding race. We were rooting for that. You have to admit that you were hoping that would be the end result of this Aaron Rodgers saga. But the flip side of that, we still don't know what's going on with Deshaun Watson in Houston. Supposedly, in the last few days, the possibility of him getting traded altogether from the Texans has been getting ramped up. Even if he's not traded, we don't know if he's going to actually be able to play. Now, Houston's going to be terrible this year. I think we all kind of expect to win that game regardless, but it gets that much easier if you don't have to worry about playing Deshaun Watson, one of the best quarterbacks in the league. So it seems like a lot of these things are just breaking our way. A lot of good players, a lot of talented players that we assumed we were going to have to deal with in 2021, we might not end up having to deal with them. And teams that we're going to be in competition against might not be as good as we were thinking. That's not to say we haven't had our own problems. I mean, J.J. Watt's on the PUP list. That sucks for Arizona. We've got Dwayne Eskridge on our PUP list, and we really can't afford that right now. Even Ethan Posick, as mediocre as he is, we really can't afford to not have him because he's going to be our starting center as of right now. So it's not been a perfect offseason by any stretch, but the overall point I'm getting at here is that it seems like things are breaking our way, and I honestly feel like last year the team was also very fortunate. I think the team got a lot of breaks last year. They ended up having a soft schedule. They got to play some teams when they weren't at their best, and I feel like the team caught a lot of breaks and was unable to take full advantage. We got to play the Giants at home with their backup quarterback. We win that game. We probably get the 1 seed. Didn't do it. In the playoff game, we get to play at home against a rookie QB, or I think a rookie QB with no experience, and then when he gets knocked out of the game, we get to play Jared Goff with a bad thumb. Couldn't take advantage. So this year, if things continue to go this way, if you take a look at the schedule right now, you will see a lot of games against teams that might not be quite as good as we were thinking going into this offseason. You better be able to take advantage. One of the reasons why I was so upset when the season ended as pathetically as it did for the Seahawks last year was the fact that we caught these breaks. We got to play against a backup quarterback. We got to play in the wild card round. We got to play against a backup quarterback in a game that could have decided the number 1 seed. We didn't get it done in either of those games. That was one thing that really frustrated me because luck is by its very nature random, and the things that rolled your way one season can easily roll your way roll the other way the next season. And I was thinking to myself, with with a season with as many things going our way as this one in 2020, you should be able to make a deep run, and we didn't. So if things continue to break our way, take advantage of it this time, okay? Take advantage of the things that are going your way, because as of right now, I am seeing our rivals a little more wounded than they're probably comfortable with. I am seeing a week 1 game that was going to be difficult to handle now turning into something of a layup if this report holds merit. And I just want to see this team be able to take advantage of it, because next year, the year after, for a decade after this season, for all we know, we might have a 10-year stretch of bad luck. That's how the nature of luck. It can come and go, and there's nothing you can do to really change it. There's nothing that we did to make Carson Wentz potentially miss week 1. We didn't do that. We had no control over that. It's just something that happened. So when these things that you have no control over happen in your favor, do something with it, okay? That's what I can say about the news we got yesterday. It's a pretty big deal, and it kind of shows that even though our schedule looked difficult before the season started, as we get closer and closer to the actual start of the season, it has the potential to not be as bad as we were thinking. Now this team just needs to be able to take advantage of that and not be like last year when it seemed like the football gods were trying to hand us a deep playoff run and we just couldn't take it. See you guys later. Peace out. Go Hawks. Let me know what you think down below. And hey, we are less than a week away from the Hall of Fame game. See you then.